G'day, HydroOne, Emil here from Performance Diet by Design with a sub 10-minute video so I can get it to you in preparation for Wednesday's session. You've got about half an hour's work, 10 minutes of this video and 20 minutes filling out your Real Talk template. So far we've talked a little bit about who we are and who we work with. We've talked about our mission from a Performance by Design perspective to help you role models. You leaders become role models by bringing your team behaviours to life and ultimately building a high-performing culture. We talked a bit about our team from Paul Rouge, Jared Murphy, myself, Warren Everett, and our newest team member, Dave Misson. Great to have Dave with us now. We did a performance connection check-in. This is very important. This is what you'll be doing moving forward in your team meetings, okay? More training to that come on that soon. We talked about everything is about performance. If what we are doing is not getting us to where we want to go, then we need to stop and change. A big part of this first section is identifying what is working and what's not, specific to behaviour. What are those behaviours that we need to reward and recognise, and those ones that we need to challenge and ask questions on, okay? Culture is driven by the behaviours you accept and reward each other. So we need to catch the good, recognise the positive and reward it, and keep leaning in and asking questions around the negative, and when we're not sure, especially ask questions. Leadership is role modelling. A team is made up of a bunch of individuals that become a great team by doing their job really well. So we would have you consider that leadership's responsibility of all team members, and if we really get this code and the system right to bring it to life, you'll start to see leadership development grow inside of your teams. When we talk about high-performing teams, we talk about having psychological safety to enjoy and engage in open, honest and constructive conversations about performance, which we call real talk. And when we can get real talk going and flowing inside of a team with any other member, you consistently progress, collaborate and innovate and continue to improve, okay? And we talked about that positive 4-to-1 ratio, catching the good. And what we're going to catch here is not just the results, but the behaviours that attach to the results, okay? Because real talk is about improvement and about care. We care so much about each other that we're going to have this conversation because I care enough about you to improve. So that's the skill of this work, because it really is a skill. Real talk and feedback is a skill. Therefore, it can be learned. Therefore, it can be practiced. And a big part of developing that skill and ability is enabling the team members, your team members and yourselves to practice empathy and vulnerability. Empathy, feeling that you're understood, and vulnerability, being able to put it on the table and not feel like you're going to get ridiculed. And really, these two powerful neurological magnets are trust builders, along with showing people that you're competent, that you can do your job and under pressure, but especially under pressure, you do what's best for the team's needs over yourself, and you deliver on your word, you fulfill on your commitments is one of your behaviours, okay? And ultimately, what's all doing is building internal strength. Trust internally can help strengthen your internal relationships, which allows you to manage adversity faster, okay? And then we talked a little bit about the performance pendulum, and the interesting part about being a leader is it's always swinging. It's swinging between supportive and caring behaviour to challenging and accountability behaviour. And what's interesting, we tend to build resilience by not sort of trying to challenge people while they're down. It's about helping them reflect on the situation to get the learnings from it. And actually, when teams are performing really well, that's actually when we would challenge you to consider challenging them, because their performance is good, the ego is high, there's a low barrier to that feedback, and it's an opportunity to build resilience and new standards. So think about that pendulum always moving and always on the go. And it's interesting, I've put green and red there because the green dove energy is that supportive and caring energy, and that the red energy is that challenging and accountability driver, red eagle type of behavior, which we need to sharpen up a little bit based on your profile. We went through some expectations, and we're going to use this very carefully as we start to roll out the Performance by Design Institute. We know that we work with a 3-phase process, with the third one ongoing. We help build your purpose, values and behaviours, your Northern leadership team culture code. We did some profiling, and now session 3, we're going to practice some real talk, okay? And then once we do that, we're going to start to integrate the system, put you guys on the Institute and help bring those code behaviours to life. So now the exercise before Wednesday's session, I've got the Teams tab, the Culture Code tab, your My Self-Reflection template, and your peer-to-peer Real Talk template. So having a look at your teams, they're all there. First, we'll go to your Culture Code. Here's the behaviours that you chose through the exercise we took you through. And here's the main values and the statements you created. What you're going to focus on using in this exercise is mostly the behaviours, okay? First exercise will be My Self-Reflection, okay? Name, position, date. You'll have your own version of this. Use it, save it, and then at the end of the session, you're going to send it through to me so we can collate it into one central location. Name, position, and date. What are your personal values is question 1, okay? How do you want to be described? And again, you can dump down all your words and pick your top 3 and put them in there. How do you want to be known? At the end of the day, end of your career, what are the words you want to be described as? And that becomes your personal code, if you will, your personal values. Then looking at your culture code, what are these behaviours do you see that you feel you are strong at? So in this instance here, I've just put in conducting one-on-ones, and here's a story and example to bring that to light. So in here, we'll go what your strengths are. Use your culture code as the reference point, because this is what you have designed or defined as performance. If there are other behaviours that are not on that code that you think could go in here, that is absolutely fine as well. But use that as the reference point. Wherever possible, write down an example or a story of when you live that behaviour well. Your behaviours will get you your results. Then the third section is to start looking at the areas of growth. What are the behaviours from your code that you think the team will consider that you need to work on and improve? Chuck them down and give you stories of examples where you could have been better and improved. Okay, again, great real talk comes with examples and stories. Then the fourth piece of this exercise is expectations. It's very similar to the other questions, but what do you think your team that you lead out in the field and your team internally at the leadership level will expect of you? So that's the first exercise. Don't worry about down here, that will come out of the session. So that will take you about 5 to 7, 8 minutes, okay? Peer-to-peer real talk is where you start to put your team name in. So if I was Steve Dale, I would have Michael Cruz, Kerry Parkin, and the other team members in there, okay? Then, Steve, you would be putting in what you think, Michael, why you love working with him, again, based off the behaviours of your code, and give examples. And what are the areas of improvement? What behaviours do you think the person can improve on? And again, wherever we possibly can, give examples and stories in this column here, okay? In this one here. Behaviours in here, stories and examples in here, behaviours in here, stories and examples in here. Come prepared with this sheet filled out to the session. And if you can, ladies and gentlemen, come to the session with the ability for us to see your faces on the grid. It makes the interaction so much more powerful. I know sometimes we don't have the capacity to, but we'd love to see your faces so we can connect a little bit more. But please come prepared with this filled out. Your self-reflection template, looking at yourself against the code, behaviours, and looking at your peers from your teams and putting that in there. Then save that document, bring it to the session. If you've got any questions, please reach out. We'll see you on Wednesday morning for a 9 o'clock start. Can't wait. Ciao for now.